Top 10 craziest concept cars. Let's get right into them. Rolls-Royce 103EX. Let's start things with one of the most luxurious concept vehicles ever made, the Rolls-Royce 103EX. As Rolls-Royce looks ahead to its next 100 years, the 103EX sets the stage for a new era in automotive luxury, one that combines tradition with cutting-edge technology and sustainability, all while maintaining the unmatched elegance that has defined the brand for generations. Now, this thing is huge. We're talking 19.4 feet long, and it's fully autonomous. But what really sets it apart isn't just the self-driving tech, it's what's inside. Forget bucket seats or dashboards. The 103EX is more like a rolling luxury suite. You get a couch-like lounge instead of a driver's seat, a massive built-in entertainment center, and a virtual assistant named Eleanor handling your entire ride. There's even a built-in umbrella dispenser, because of course there is. It's Rolls-Royce. The company's goal with this concept was clear. In the future, cars won't be vehicles. They'll be private sanctuaries complete with the kind of customization and comfort you'd expect from a five-star hotel. No steering wheel, no pedals. Just you, Eleanor, and your moving living room. And while the tech and design are futuristic, Rolls-Royce stayed true to its roots. The spirit of ecstasy still leads the way, though now she's backed by artificial intelligence instead of horsepower. Eleanor, the AI, doesn't just drive. She learns from your preferences. She knows your schedule, your favorite route, your ideal cabin temperature, and even your mood. It's not just luxury, it's luxury that knows you. The electric powertrain reflects Rolls-Royce's shift towards sustainability, embracing the zero-emissions future without sacrificing the grandeur. With custom interiors featuring silk, wood, and carbon fiber, and the ability to personalize nearly every element, the 103EX isn't just a concept, it's a statement. The Dale. Now here's a curveball. Back in 1975, during the fallout of the 1973 oil crisis, the 20th Century Motor Car Corporation rolled out something they claimed would change the industry forever. The Dale. This three-wheeled car promised 70 miles per gallon and a dirt-cheap price tag. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it was literally. The whole thing turned out to be a scam. At the time, the world was panicking over fuel. Gas prices had skyrocketed overnight thanks to the OPEC oil embargo that punished the West for supporting Israel during the Yom Kippur War. Gas stations were running dry. People were desperate for alternatives to the big, thirsty cars that now seemed like expensive paperweights. Geraldine Elizabeth Carmichael, founder of the 20th Century Motor Car Company, she saw the chaos as opportunity. Her pitch was simple: a cheap, aerodynamic three-wheeled car made from lightweight materials, powered by a two-cylinder BMW motorcycle engine, and capable of an astonishing 70 miles per gallon. That car was the Dale. On paper, it checked every box. It was sleek, futuristic looking, and cost less than $2,000. It had two wheels in the front, one in the back, and a low center of gravity for stability. A prototype even made it onto The Price is Right. But behind the curtain, things weren't what they seemed. The Dale couldn't drive, literally. The prototype on display at the Los Angeles Auto Show in 1975 was just a painted shell. It had no engine. The company had collected millions in pre-orders and investment money, yet no working car ever rolled off the line. Eventually, investigators found that Carmichael was actually Jerry Dean Michael, a fugitive with a history of fraud going back to the 1960s. She disappeared for over 10 years before being caught in 1989 after her case aired on Unsolved Mysteries. The Dale remains one of the wildest concept car stories ever. Not because it changed the future, but because it exploited the fears of the present. Ford Nucleon. Let's rewind to the 1950s, an era obsessed with atomic power. That's when Ford introduced the Nucleon, a car concept powered by weight for a nuclear reactor. Seriously, the idea was that one day nuclear technology would become compact and safe enough to stick inside a personal vehicle. The Nucleon would be powered by a small reactor placed at the rear of the car, giving it an ultra-long driving range. No gas, no emissions, just atomic energy. Ford believed you could drive up to 5,000 miles before needing a recharge. But instead of filling up at a gas station, you'd stop by a nuclear refueling station and swap out the reactor core. Yeah, Ford really thought that one day we'd all be changing uranium capsules like oil filters. They even imagined offering different cores with unique power levels, like buying a battery with different voltage for your cordless drill. The design? Absolutely wild. It had a sleek, futuristic body with a bubble-style windshield, and the rear was stretched out to make room for the reactor, giving the car a spaceship-like silhouette. Even the headlights were just narrow slits, and the whole thing looked like it belonged in a 1960s sci-fi comic or parked next to the Jetsons flying car. But of course, it never made it past the 3/8 scale model stage. Why? Because nuclear reactors are huge, heavy, and extremely radioactive. And engineers quickly realized it wasn't just about shrinking the reactor. You also needed a ton of protective shielding to make it safe, and that would have turned your car into a rolling tank. Even though it never hit the road, the Ford Nucleon remains one of the boldest and most bizarre concept cars ever imagined. Mercedes-Benz Biome. Next up is something that sounds like it came straight out of a science lab. The Mercedes-Benz Biome isn't made, it's grown. Yup, you heard that right. According to Mercedes, the entire car is literally grown from seeds in a special nursery. Using futuristic bioengineering, each vehicle is created from a mix of proprietary DNA and a seed capsule, and tailored to the buyer's specific preferences. The interior grows from the DNA in the front star, while the exterior grows from the rear star. Even the wheels are grown separately using 4 unique seeds. It's like gardening, but instead of tomatoes, you get a Mercedes. The material it's made of is called biofiber, an ultra-lightweight plant-based substance that's stronger than steel when mature, but much lighter than traditional car materials. This helps the car run more efficiently while being easier on the planet. And it gets even cooler. The Biome collects solar energy and stores it in a fluid called BioNectar 4534. Not only does it power the car, but Mercedes imagined a system where trees can be retrofitted with special receptors to also collect this energy and funnel it into BN4534. In other words, you could have trees acting like solar panels and earn energy credits from your backyard oak. Better yet, the Biome releases pure oxygen into the air while driving. No emissions, just clean air. And once it's done with its life, the entire car can be composted or used as building material. Imagine trading in your old car and literally planting it in your garden. But as cool as this sounds, there's one major problem: scaling it up. Growing a car takes time, resources, and exact science. How do you produce millions of these in time to meet real-world demand? Still, as a concept, the Mercedes-Benz Biome is one of the boldest and most futuristic ideas ever put on 4 wheels. Plymouth Voyager 3. Okay, what if your car could literally change shape depending on what you needed that day? That was the thinking behind the Plymouth Voyager 3, a wild concept minivan from the late 80s and early 90s. Here's how it worked. In its default setup, the Voyager 3 was just a compact car light, nimble, and ideal for city driving. But let's say you needed to haul your kids, groceries, luggage, and maybe a couch. No problem. Just attach the rear trailer unit, and voila, you've got a full-size minivan. The Voyager 3 could instantly go from a commuter car to a family hauler, like some kind of automotive transformer. Even cooler, the rear wheels of the cab would retract and hide when the trailer was connected, giving it a sleek look when fully assembled. Each part of the vehicle, both the cab and the trailer, had its own 4-cylinder engine, and these were electronically coordinated. That means they could either run separately or together, depending on your driving needs. It was like having 2 engines working as a team or individually, depending on the situation. Imagine the power control. The design even included a glass roof, which added a futuristic, airy feel to the vehicle. The concept was credited to Chrysler designer Tom Gale, the same mind behind the Dodge Viper and the Plymouth Prowler. So yeah, this wasn't just some random experiment, this had real talent behind it. Unfortunately, cool tech and ideas weren't enough to save the Voyager 3. In real-world terms, the concept was, well, kind of a mess. Attaching the trailer was awkward, the look was clunky and mismatched, and parking it was a nightmare. One source even called it the worst concept car of all time. Harsh, but maybe fair. Still, for all its flaws, the Plymouth Voyager 3 deserves credit for daring to ask a big question. What if one car could do it all? Honda Fuyajo. Now this one is just wild. In 1999, Honda unveiled the Fuyajo, which literally means sleepless city. And honestly, the name fits perfectly. This wasn't just a car. It was a rolling nightclub on wheels, built for young urbanites who lived for the nightlife and didn't believe in curfews. The Fuyajo wasn't just inspired by nightclubs, it basically was one. The inside featured a wide, flat floor made for standing and dancing, with semi-standing seats that gave you the feeling of cruising on a skateboard or rollerblades. There was even a special skateboard rack built into the back hatch. Yeah, Honda really understood the assignment. And get this, the steering wheel looked like a DJ's turntable, and the instrument panel was laid out like an MC's mixer. This wasn't just a vehicle, it was a mobile rave. Add in a massive speaker system with over a dozen speakers and club-style lighting, and you've got a party that moves with you. Whether you were parked or driving, the Fuyajo kept the energy high and the vibes even higher. On the outside, the car looked like a chunky, futuristic cartoon block, but it was still compact and agile, perfect for weaving through city streets. The dimensions were pretty tight too. 3,050 millimeters long, 1,650 millimeters wide, and nearly 2 meters tall. The wheelbase was 2,200 millimeters, giving it a surprisingly stable ride despite its wild design. Honda gave it 3 large hinge doors that opened super wide for easy access, especially if you were hauling friends or gear. It wasn't meant to be practical, it was meant to be fun, and it pulled that off effortlessly. Honda even said the Fuyajo was smart, so drivers could have fun. And you could tell this concept was all about pure joy and breaking the mold. They never planned to mass produce it, but it definitely made a splash at auto shows and proved that cars don't always need to be serious. They can just be a good time on wheels. Peugeot e-Doll. Let's talk about something that looks like it came straight out of a toy box. The Peugeot e-Doll. Released in 2000 as part of Peugeot's playful City Toys concept line, the e-Doll blurred the line between a full-size car and a kid's ride-on toy. It wasn't just a car, it was a vibe, and it leaned all the way in. The exterior? Pure plastic fantasy meets space-age go-kart. This thing was only about 2.5 meters long and just 1.29 meters tall, making it compact enough to zip through tight city streets or maybe just cruise through a mall if no one stopped you. The tiny 10-inch front wheels gave it that Dodgem car look. And yes, the styling was intentionally fun, funky, and just a bit ridiculous in the best way possible. But the real weirdness happened inside. Instead of a traditional steering wheel, the e-Doll had scooter-style handlebars, complete with twist grips for the throttle and brakes. Yup, just like the scooters you might have zoomed around on as a kid. The driver sat in the middle, with 2 passengers beside them, all crammed up front in what can only be described as the coziest of group rides. And then there was the trunk, or more accurately, the transparent cargo basket out back, which could detach and roll along like a shopping trolley. Peugeot even filled it with colorful bouncy balls in their showcase model, just to really hammer home the adult toy theme. It was practical in a very impractical way, perfect for grabbing a few groceries, if those groceries happened to be rubber ducks. Nobody expected the e-Doll to go into production, and Peugeot wasn't pretending otherwise. It was a design experiment, a celebration of urban freedom, youthful spirit, and automotive imagination. And while it might never have made it to the dealership floor, it absolutely made an impression. Even today, it's hard to look at the e-Doll without cracking a smile. Citroën Karin. This one turned heads in a very different way. The Citroën Karin was a concept car that made quite a splash when it was presented at the Paris Motor Show in 1980. Designed by Trevor Fiore, it stood out with its bold and unusual pyramidal shape. The entire car looked like a futuristic pyramid with sharp, clean lines that set it apart from anything else on the road at the time. The exterior was just as unique as the shape. It featured flush glass panels that blended smoothly into the body, giving it a sleek, seamless look. The rear wheels were faired, meaning they were covered for better aerodynamics and a cleaner design. Plus, the Karin had dramatic butterfly doors that swung up and out, adding to its futuristic vibe. Another crazy detail was the tiny roof about the size of an A3 sheet of paper because of that truncated pyramid design, which made the car feel almost like a sculpture you could drive. Inside, the Karin broke all the rules with a very unconventional layout. It had 3 seats, but unlike typical cars, the driver sat right in the middle, flanked by the 2 passengers on either side. This setup wasn't just stylish. It was meant to give the driver the best possible view and control, putting them truly at the center of the action. All these features combined made the Citroën Carinen an unforgettable concept that pushed the boundaries of automotive design. Ital Design Machimoto. Okay, now imagine you wanted the thrill of a motorcycle, but also wanted to bring along 8 friends. That's basically the idea behind the Ital Design Machimoto, a 1986 concept car that tried to merge a motorcycle with a car. The result? A roofless, open-air ride with staggered seating for up to 9 people, all in motorcycle-style saddle seats. You wore helmets, you sat exposed, and you felt the road. It looked like a science fiction parade float. Underneath, it used a Volkswagen Golf GTI platform with a 1.8-liter inline-4 engine that pumped out 139 horsepower. The front-wheel drive setup was fully functional, making it more than just a showpiece. Even the steering wheel was unique. It could transform into motorcycle-style handlebars using special pivoting grips that tucked inside the wheel's arms. Drivers could control it like a regular car or flip it into bike mode for a different feel. Sounds thrilling, but also kind of terrifying. It had serious safety issues, especially in bad weather. A rainy day could ruin your commute and your wardrobe. While it was an amazing design experiment, the Machimoto never made it to production. But years later, it inspired wild concepts like VW's GX3 trike, Mercedes' Vision A VTR. Last but definitely not least is the Mercedes Vision A VTR, a concept that blends automotive engineering with the Avatar movie franchise. It doesn't just look alien, it acts alien. The A VTR has no traditional controls. You interact with the car using a brain-computer interface. That's right, your thoughts tell the car what to do. There's also a central control pad and a huge digital dashboard that reacts to your focus and gestures. But it's not just about cool sci-fi features. The AVTR is fully electric, with a 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack and 4 electric motors. It offers a 435-mile driving range and can recharge in just 15 minutes. That's some serious speed for both driving and charging. Plus, the battery is made from organic, compostable materials, showing Mercedes-Benz's push towards zero emission and fully sustainable mobility. The car even moves in ways most cars can't. It can drive sideways thanks to its independent motor control. The interior adjusts dynamically to your body and thoughts, creating a true connection between man, machine, and nature. A limited version of this actually works, which is crazy to think about. It's not ready for the road, but it shows us what's possible when you mix neuroscience, film design, and cutting-edge tech into one surreal package. So, what's the point of concept cars like these? It's not just to show off wild designs or invent new ways to drive. It's about pushing limits. It's about saying, why not, instead of, what if? Not every idea works. Some were scams. Some were fantasies. Some were safety hazards on wheels. But every single one of them says something about what we want from the future. Luxury, sustainability, identity, connection, convenience, and sometimes, just a bit of fun. Which one blew your mind the most? Would you ride in a nuclear-powered car? Would you dance in a drivable nightclub? Are you holding out for the day we all control our cars with our minds? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit like if you'd ever ride in any of these insane machines.